Welcome to the Sleeping Barber podcast.
Can you do one where you put the sleeping barber in the as English in the thing?
Carlos, so you're postpod up to Sleeping Barber.
It's amazing.
And the thing is, I have the dialect, like the Greek English dialect, so I can kind of go back and forth.
You've got an English accent in Greek.
Yeah,
so like that.
So Sleeping Barber is like how you would say Sleeping Barber in Greek, in Gringlish, maybe. Anyways,
I remember a long time ago I was dating this girl, and her family's Portuguese, and they would say a bunch of Portuguese stuff, and then they go "Parque de Caro," and so like, yeah, you'd think it was like Portuguese, but it's just "park the car."
It's just "park the car."
"Parque de Caro."
There's so many of those in our language as well. That's pretty funny.
So speaking of funny things in our language, how about loyalty in Ethan?
That was what a fantastic conversation. And yes, loyalty keeps rearing its head in those most, I don't want to call them inopportune moments, but it's still just there. It's part of our vernacular, thinking that's what our sole purpose of being a marketer is to drive loyalty. And I'm just so thankful Ethan came on the show to, start that process of righting that ship a little bit.
Yeah. And I think, starting with the idea of loyalty, it's really powerful because, we all say it, we all talk about it. And it's one of those things where we're like, okay, yeah, we're going to get a customer and then they're going to be loyal to us. Meaning they're going to be monogamous. They're going to buy from us all the time. They're the most the greatest customer because they always come to us. They tell all their friends, all those kinds of things that we conjure up in our heads about what loyalty means. And it turns out that none of those things are actually probably true.
No. There's less and less evidence to say so that, people are really monogamous to one specific brand. I think it was one line where he says, if they're a heavy buyer in your product, they're likely a heavy buyer in the category.
Yeah.
And that for me was a huge ding, 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 ding. Mm-hmm. And I think we used the example of mayonnaise, for example, or even toilet paper came up quite frequently during our episode, which was kind of funny in its own right. But I think it just goes to show you that our buying behaviors don't mimic what we've been taught in marketing to say, if someone has repeat purchases with you, it means that they love you. Yeah. And that's not the case. They love a lot of brands.
Yeah. But the thing I appreciate about the toilet paper example is that it is something that's a common experience for everybody. Yeah. I've tried to talk about some of the laws to other people in the past. And for me, and this is where I think toilet paper is helpful, because for me, I would talk about things like I shop for groceries all the time.
We know you love going grocery shopping.
I do. I'm the cook in the family, so I'm always shopping for groceries. But I go to Co-op most often. I rarely go to Safeway, but I do go there when I'm on my way home from dropping off my daughter at dance. I also there's a store called Lena's, and they're Italian.
Great place.
Great. And they've got all the stuff for pizza. So whenever we're going to make pizza, I go there. Yeah. I go to this other shop that's Blush Lane that you know about in Marteloup. And because I often go there out of convenience, but because they have the hummus that I love the most. Right. And so you know what I mean? I got 4 or 5 different places that I go to in my repertoire. There's a Greek place around the corner from me that I go to get that's near my guitar lessons. So I talk about that with people and try to explain the laws of brand science, and then they're like, "Well, no, I just go to the Safeway near my house." Yeah, I'm like, because they're in an isolated area where there's not a lot of other options, and that's the one option there. Yeah. So I get the point of using toilet paper because it's something that everybody's experienced. You go to the aisle, there's a whole bunch of different kinds. There's one that's got, it was always on sale. And so,
it's like, you know what I mean? Picking up.
Yeah, and then that triggers a lot of purchase behavior as well. And so,
Totally.
yeah, it's funny because it is common, and it does make you rethink what loyalty actually is, because you then see it for yourself.
I would argue another one of those where is milk, right?
Yeah.
I think between, if you're a big fan of say 2% milk, doesn't matter
Yeah.
if it's from Beatrice or Lutheran, or like you just need 2% milk. Like for at least maybe in our household, like we don't really think about what brand it is or anything to that effect. So I feel it just becomes one of those things. It's like, I need milk. Who's got it right now? Where am I?
Yeah.
I just need to pick up milk.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think, it's a really good point. And then the other one, though, I would say is where you get hung up and people are, oh, I'm loyal. And they're like, I always drive Hondas. I'm like, well, yeah, because you own a Honda. Like, you're not swapping that out every, like, maybe some people are, but you're not swapping that out every 3 months or whatever.
Totally.
In those scenarios. And so I think that's where the differentiation between the two types of markets helps, because you can go, what is that? Sorry, listener. I just put my hand up, and all of a sudden there's some kind of AI thing happening on my screen, and balloons just showed. That's weird. I don't know what I did. Anyway, the AI is really liking my story here. But then do you get to this point where subscription markets are one thing, and loyalty is loyalty. Defection is really low. So a car would be a subscription kind of market, or a B2B SaaS product is a subscription market.
Yeah.
But that's low in a moment of time, but it would follow the same patterns over time.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I just want like the buying circumstance for a lot of different products may give you the illusion of loyalty. So we talked about a car. You're always going to buy a Honda because you've just bought a Honda, but you're buying a vehicle every 7 years. I don't know like what the average is, but that's a lot easier maybe to be loyal to something specific. Whereas things like commodities or things like on repeat purchase, there's less loyalty there because you just become a heavy category buyer, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's where you have to really kind of take a step back and understand, okay, where does my product or my service fall under? Even like Ethan talked about, like doing some basic frequency modeling, right? Just understand, like, what do those repeat purchases look like against he called it the banana curve. I never heard that before, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
But having that understanding, like, well, how many times your product is being purchased? 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, and then, obviously moving up that continuum there. So it will give you a better sense of what happened.
Well, I'm going to try something we've never done before. I don't think we've ever done it.
I don't know.
I want to show you my entire screen here. Look at this.
Well, for those listening right now, we have an image on our screen while we're talking to it.
But we have this on YouTube too, so this may be.
That's right.
Hell, yeah. Look at that! Oh my gosh, this is a whole new world, Veit.
How about you explain this to those that just are listening to us?
Yeah, so the banana curve, it looks like a long tail curve. You have a few. It depends on what you're classifying here, but a few of the price points or a few of the customers or whatever that has a lot of volume.
Yeah.
And so then it trails off in a nice long tail.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what he was talking about with the banana curve.
Totally. And I think, again, it's I think we just have to be very very open to the idea that we're not just the consumer. Again, we talked about this numerous times, is not just monogamous, but you just try to make sure that you are just wait, let me try to find his words. Essentially, you don't want to lose, you want to first fight it against forgetting or becoming anti-forgettable, right? So, because he listed at the end of the like 3 things at the end of the podcast, but like That's why you need to make sure that you're constantly advertising. He brought up Coke as an example. They don't stop advertising because there's still a lot of, the population that they're coming in and they still don't know about Coke.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe Coke's an anomaly a little bit, but I think you get what I'm saying. Like,
well, but even Coke, though, like, think about all the buying situations that Coke could come up in. And then
Sure.
Coke, that part of their challenge would be to make sure they come up in more of those situations.
Yeah.
Like, so it's not that everyone knows Coke is one thing, but that everyone thinks of Coke in a specific buying situation
Totally
is a whole other thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
The other thing I just wanted to touch on that I really liked is the stages of brand grief that he highlighted.
Yeah, that was
which
great.
I thought was really, really, really well done. Stage one is resistance. Well, this doesn't happen in my category. This doesn't happen in our industry. We're B2B.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
this is not us. It's everyone else. But then when the realization sets in, then that's where despair starts becoming a part of the process. It's like, wait a second.
Yeah.
It is us.
Yeah.
But then there's an awakening that happens subsequently, and then finally the excitement of recreating and doing things truly magical. So I think it was interesting when you go through that, and I think both you and I have been in those settings where there is this realization, this moment of clarity that happens. You're like, oh, wait a second.
Yeah.
We've been thinking about this all wrong. So
Totally.
I thought that was really, really interesting.
Yeah. Well, and he made a quick point about it. I think one of the things that people resist about these ideas of laws of brand growth is that like for a creative group of people, creative industry, you get to this point where you hear things like laws and you go, well, that takes all the fun out of it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I'm super creative. I was the one who, was able to generate this thing out of nothing. And so, in a way that becomes threatening to say, well, you can codify all this stuff. And it's not to say that we're with the laws that you codify the creativity. You just are more codifying the consumer behaviors so that the creativity could be more specific and even potentially more, well, for sure, more effective.
Yeah.
Because you're targeting the right kinds of things and the right kinds of behavior and the right kinds of people.
Totally.
You know what? Actually, speaking of which, like the idea of segmentation, if often because of the idea of loyalty, we target our most loyal customers a lot.
Yeah.
Right. We will find more people like that. And those people are the heavy category buyers. But then, and so because of that, you build all your creative around that and you tie all your media investments to that.
Yeah.
But in order to grow, you got to reach more of the infrequent buyers or non-buyers.
Yeah.
Which you alienate by focusing your creative on the heavy buyers all the time.
Well, the reason why is because when you look at it, say let's use digital as an example, the moment that your costs or your CPA, your cost per acquisition starts creeping up, you're starting to think, oh, it's not the right audience. It's not as efficient. We're wasting money. It's why people like to sit on their branded keywords versus investing in generic, because again, costs go up and everyone is really trying to say, from a digital perspective, we have to be driving as much efficiency as possible. Yeah. And I think that's why we've been pushed down this weird path of efficiency, or the guise of efficiency, where we're losing the plot and saying, if you want to build in longevity, you want to make sure you're speaking to, I think he used the percentage, 74% of those that don't know your brand, you have to be willing to invest more money. And usually when it's finite, people don't go there. So they go back to the lookalike audiences based off of their first party data, which means it's heavy buyers in the specific category. You have high frequency on those media buys, and you're giving yourself high fives because you think you're doing great because you're trying short-term growth. But at the end of the day, maybe it's not the right thing to do.
There was I shared that Perpetual Traffic podcast link with you the other day, and I was listening to it on the way home. I was like, God, and it's exactly what you're talking about. They're like, okay, well, and this is from performance marketers, which I think is actually maybe a sign of
things are changing,
of the apocalypse. But but they're like, Yeah, they're like, well, if we did everything the way that Google said on this one case study, our ROAS looks amazing. And so the podcast is why ROAS sucks. And so, they did all the things that you just described.
No.
And the ROAS was huge.
Great.
But the sales in the bank account were terrible.
Yeah.
They flipped it all to do reach-based tactics, to drive, they did some really smart things with targeting or surfacing products that were high-value products and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But to new audiences.
Yeah.
Basically using reach. And then all of a sudden, ROAS is terrible.
Yeah.
According to Google. But real sales were massive.
Or went up.
Yeah. So it's really interesting kind of hearing that coming from performance, quote unquote, marketers. It's changing everything. Like a lot of this stuff is like you never have heard that, 5 years ago from performance marketers.
No, because I think we and I'm putting myself in that category is like I think we felt closest to the data that also showed us we were on the right track.
Mm-hmm.
I think what's happened though over the last few years is you're seeing almost this awakening. So you want to call it the stages of brand grief.
Yeah.
I think there's awakening on our side. Oh, wait a second. There's almost seems like all these new technologies that are coming out. You talk about PMAX, you talk about, value-based bidding and all these things. That exercise essentially becomes a redistribution of attribution versus it being incrementality.
Right.
And I think that is the moment that we're like, whoa, time out here. We have to be going in a different direction. And, at the end of the day, even Ethan brought it to our attention. Well, he said, like, as marketers, we have to make sure that we're trying new levers.
Yeah.
Or levers. Depends where you are. More levers, right? So you just never know what might work. So that example that you brought up is a great example. It's like, as marketers, we have to make sure that we don't just sit on what we believe is truth, is continuously test and moving that needle in areas that maybe we were uncomfortable at the beginning.
Yeah. I thought that was a really interesting point about, or an epiphany for me. Well, two things. One on teaching teams was really interesting as a way to get this stuff to be absorbed by a group of people. But the other one was around, I just lost the train of thought. The lever, trying new things. I totally lost the train of thought.
Academicization, or what was that? The ability to speak academia.
Yeah. Well, translating stuff into regular language, I think matters. I totally lost the train of thought. It was such a great point, B. Whatever.
Well, we'll come.
It'll come to me later.
It may, because I think the other thing for me that was a big aha moment, and it's not the first time we've heard it, which also I loved, is the sense that we should be focusing our attention mostly on the mass reach side from an acquisition perspective, and less on trying to find like that one behavior that is consistent amongst the largest audience sizes, right? It's like, just go for reach. Don't try to be too targeted in some of this. And I think that for me is a big takeaway and something that I will definitely be looking to adopt a lot more in the way I approach media. So
reach matters a lot. Like totally. more than anything we ever really gave it credit for. Oh, that was the thing I was going to say. Like and then your point brought it, because I was thinking about all the data we're looking at. It's just our own data. And so when you're looking at your own data, it's like incrementality we were talking about. Like you look at ROAS and go, oh, this is amazing. But it's not incremental. And so in the same way that you're looking at your own data and loyalty, you go, oh, we got these loyal customers, but it's not your own customers. They're customers of the category. And so I think that's one of the things that for marketers as a takeaway, even salespeople, I think intuitively know this. If you try and sell this to the same group of people over and over and over and over again, you're going to suffer.
Yeah.
Because they already bought. Yeah. And they're going to buy again at some point in the future, but not now. So you actually have to reach more new people. And so, when you look at your own data, especially if you've got a big data set and you've got lots of customers, hundreds of thousands of customers, it seems great. You just go after the group that has the biggest, your Pareto law or whatever, which actually turns out is probably more like 60-40. So the 40% of your customers who aren't purchasing a lot, the long tail component of that, there's a huge group of them that are just buying ones and twos, and it probably makes up about 40% of your sales. So like you can't ignore them either.
I think I'd brought this up in another example, so forgive me if you've heard this before, but we had a similar issue when I was working for WestJet. Like we were targeting the premium traveler.
Yeah.
That had essentially, they spent the most money with us.
Right.
However, the largest loyal user base was actually our teals that they only flew once or twice a year.
Right.
So like while as an airline, you've really started going down this path of the premiumization of the brand, the premiumization of the cabins, etc. It's really speaking to a small subset of your consumers when you're, I don't want to say you're neglecting, but you're not targeting the leisure traveler that is really going to jump on a flight once or twice a year. Yeah. And they make up the largest part of your database. But they were never a point of focus from a targeting perspective.
Yeah. It's a bit of a mind fuck. Like
it is.
You got to wrap your head around that because it's so counter to what we've all been programmed to do.
Totally. You want to go where the average basket size is largest. So that means there's, someone that's buying heavy against your products. It's like, oh my gosh, they must really love what we sell or what we do or whatever it is. We want more of those people.
Yeah.
When in actuality, you're if you were to look at, where some of your sales are coming from, it's those that are buying maybe lighter on the one side, but they make up more of your total sales volume.
Yeah.
So how do you appeal to a larger audience versus the unique audience that is buying a lot, which again signals that they're probably a heavy category buyer, not just your own product.
Yeah.
That's for me is one of the biggest takeaways.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it was great. I really enjoyed that conversation with him. And I like how he kind of turns all the laws of brand science stuff into regular language, if you know what I mean. It's not,
That's a great point.
Yeah, he did get into like the NBD law, but negative binomial distribution. But you lose people as soon as you start getting into that, right? Yeah.
Come on, marketing still has to be fun, man. Let's go.
Yeah, like the banana curve. I appreciate that. And I think he said Weimer Snyder's. I forget how to pronounce his name. Anyway, also a good book. Eat your greens.
Mm-hmm. Eat those greens.
Okay, V. How about you? How about you bring home a little Greek flourish?
More Greek?
Yeah.
Now you put me on the spot. What can I do? Ευχαριστούμε που ακούσατε άλλη μια εκπομπή από το Sleeping Barber. Θα τα πούμε την επόμενη φορά.
I love it. It is so good. I wish I could speak Greek. It sounds so good.
That's awesome, man.
All right.
Well, till next time, what are we doing?
We're going to chase that profitability, V.
That's all we do, man.
That's all we're doing. That's all we're doing.
That's it. There we go.
All right, buddy. Talk to you soon.
Day.